circle bright, weave your web of dark and light, earth, air, fire.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Which is the Moon, Season 13, Week 3. This week we are discussing the differences between sympathetic magic and practical magic. Now, a lot of you are probably familiar with the movie Practical Magic, and you're wondering what is the difference between sympathetic magic and practical magic. So what I'm going to offer you today is kind of a brief sort of overview of what is the difference between the two and how do they correlate, and then talk a little bit about how we utilize both of those seamlessly in witchcraft today. So first of all, sympathetic magic is exactly what it sounds like, sympathizing with something. When you sympathize with something, you're aligning with it, right? You're corresponding with it. You are becoming one with it. So that is what sympathetic magic is. It is imitative in nature. So think about way back hundreds of years ago when farmers wanted their plants to grow. And so they would get out there and they would hop in the fields to encourage the plants by showing them how high they wanted the plants to grow. And this is the basis for where we get our correspondences, such as color and what the herbs do and mean and how they help us in practice today, in what we then use in practical magic. So, So that is the basis of correspondences in magical practice today. How we know that sage is good for clearing and cleansing. How do we know that rosemary is protective, right? It comes from that sympathetic magic vein, right? Then you have practical magic, which is exactly what it sounds like. Magic in practice. So practical magic would be the actual use of those sympathetic means in order to create an outcome. So spell casting then becomes a very practical use of sympathetic magic. We incorporate sympathetic aspects into our practical magic in order to utilize those energies, right? That, in brief, is essentially what the difference is between sympathetic magic and practical magic. So what else can you say about it at this point, right? So what I want to talk about is specifically the use of herbs as a sympathetic or a correspondence for magic. Herbs are very important to witches. You would think all of us are great cooks, right? Now, I don't think I'm a bad cook, but I'm certainly not a gourmet. But I do use herbs, and when I cook, I am infusing my magic into whatever I make. If you've ever seen like Water for Chocolate, it is a fabulous movie. It's in Spanish, but it does have subtitles for those of you that don't speak Spanish. If you have not seen it, you need to watch it. It is definitely an example of sympathetic magic pulled into practical. And what I mean by that is it's the story of Tita, and Tita is the youngest of her siblings. She has two other sisters, Rosaura and I cannot remember the middle daughter's name. But Tita is not allowed to marry. Her position as the youngest daughter is to care for her parents as they age. And so she's forced into the kitchen with the cook, who then teaches her how to infuse her food with magic. And she does without even realizing it. It's all of her intent is pushed into her cooking. All of her suppressed emotions are put into her cooking. And so what happens is, by the use of various herbs and spices, she draws the sympathetic magic out in herself, and it becomes practical when it's consumed by those who eat her food. And so the movie is all about her love for this man who loves her, but they cannot be together. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, so I would recommend it. It's called Como Agua para Chocolate, and that means like water for chocolate. So I'm pretty sure you can get it on Netflix or something like that. It would be definitely something you would want to check out, because that is a very good example of sympathetic magic taken into a practical context. If you think back to the movie Practical Magic, A lot of what they do is practical magic, right? They're doing their spellcraft. They're infusing it in their everyday life, but they use sympathetic things such as the correspondences in the herbs, right? The belladonna, the tiger's eye. Those are sympathetic aspects of magic that you see put to practical use in that movie. Essentially, the two are hard to disentangle. You really can't have practical magic without some form of sympathetic magic. So just think of it this way, that sympathetic magic is imitative, it's corresponded, it's all of those things, and practical magic is the practice of the magic using the sympathetic factors. So I hope that you gained a little bit of understanding from this video and that it was enlightening to you. I hope that you'll get more information. I feel like I should be giving you more because this video is so short, but I don't really know what else I could say about it. And I'm hoping that perhaps my co-host will be able to give you some better examples or more examples of differences between the two. So again, thank you so much for joining us again for season 13. I hope you enjoyed week 3, practical versus sympathetic magic, and you have a wonderful day.